Suguli Swagwig. Today I am honored to address the membership with the purpose of updating you on the state of the Oneida Nation and the impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on our community. Oneida is a nation of strong families built on Ji-Nyungwali Hoda and a strong economy. That has been the vision of our nation for decades. For generations, our people have worked hard to grow and thrive, a thriving and prosperous nation, and we have been successful. However, the state of the Oneida Nation has changed drastically in the past 120 days. We are amidst a global pandemic that has forced us to face an economy paralyzed by the virus that has most governments and businesses, including the Oneida Nation, near a complete shutdown. In January 2020, when the nation's leadership learned of the COVID-19 virus, we immediately consulted with our public health professionals and emergency management and began tracking the virus and its impacts. The decision to cancel the March 16, 2020 General Tribal Council meeting was a decision made to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our Oneida community. Since then, the government has legislated emergency actions to do the following: open our Emergency Operations Center, declare a public health state of emergency, and issue safer at home declarations while continuously monitoring the impacts of COVID-19. In March 2020, the spread of the COVID-19 spiked. The nation entered into Tier 5 budget contingency. This led to the difficult decision to close our gaming operations. Oneida, along with all tribal nations within the state of Wisconsin, did the same, being mindful of the health, safety, and welfare of our community and customers. The pandemic caused the shutdown of the casino and continues to be the most devastating financial blow we have experienced historically here in Wisconsin. The economy has spiraled into a financial collapse, forcing the nation to operate with drastically reduced cash flow and 2/3 of our workforce unemployed. Facing this dire reality, we had no other choice but to close many services and facilities that were funded by our gaming and retail revenues. The nation's last budget approved by General Tribal Council was more than $480 million. At that time, weekly revenues averaged approximately $5.3 million from gaming and retail revenue. Today, after reopening the casino, weekly revenues averaged $3.6 million. This is a 33% reduction. Pre-COVID-19, our weekly expenses totaled $4.1 million, which included $2.4 million in personnel expenses. We are now down to $2.1 million in expenses, of which $1.4 million is related to personnel expenses. This means the nation experienced a significant amount of revenue loss in a very short period of time. In turn, this has led to some very difficult and heart-wrenching decisions. The nation's leadership worked hard to be included in federal legislation providing pandemic and economic assistance dollars. The nation received federal assistance through the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, also known as the CARES Act. The CARES Act provided much-needed funding to purchase materials and equipment like plexiglass, disinfectant, and masks. These items were purchased for the safety and protection of our employees and our customers at our health center, casinos, retail stores, and other operations within the nation. The CARES Act money have rules on how those dollars can be spent. CARES monies must be spent on necessary expenditures incurred between March 1, 2020 and December 30, 2020 that were not budgeted in the most recently approved budget and must be a necessary expenditure to address the COVID-19 pandemic. Many have asked to provide individual payment to all tribal members, like some tribes have done. Please remember that all tribal nations differ from one another in population, land base, jurisdiction, and more. Other programs are being developed to assist with many needs of our families, but we must ensure we are complying with the rules of spending CARES funds, or we will be required to pay those funds back to the federal government. However, I am pleased to announce that the COVID-19 Pandemic Assistance Relief Program will begin August 1st, 2020, providing some financial relief to families. All tribal members over the age of 18 who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic can apply. These dollars can assist with housing, rent, mortgage, utilities, food, technology needs such as Wi-Fi and laptops, medical bills, childcare and transportation, and assistance in seeking employment and job training. At this time, unfortunately, we do not have the financial resources, nor will we have resources in the near future to pay our annual per capita. This payment requires tribal contribution of $22.5 million to all 17,000 plus enrolled Oneidas and the elder per capita of $5.8 million to those 62 and older. The nation cannot afford to pay the remaining budgeted GTC stipends, which would be approximately $1.1 million. All the services beyond the necessary infrastructure and fixed expenses that the nation is obligated to cannot be provided at this time. Despite our dire financial situation, the nation has provided services to our elders in housing, food service, prescription delivery, assistance with rent, mortgage, and utility payments, and more. The nation has taken precautions to protect our most vulnerable populations, including the residents at the Anna John Resident-Centered Care community. While 2 employees tested positive for COVID-19, all residents have been tested and thankfully no one else has tested positive. Our team of professionals will be taking additional measures to keep our residents safe. Also, we have not been able to provide some of our medical services to the community, like dental, optical, and podiatry, as they could not be done in a manner that both safe for the patient and for the provider. The Oneida Nation school system provided our students a virtual learning experience, and the entire student population was afforded a free daily lunch with no questions asked. Our Oneida Nation School Board and school administration are currently working to finalize a plan for school this fall. We need to continue to make organizational changes that build upon efficiency and productivity. We must provide jobs and ensure our services are effective and meeting the needs of our community. Our government must continue to legislate in a manner that will be in the best interest of all Oneidas, with the future of our community in the forefront, strong and sustainable for generations to come. The pandemic has robbed us of our ability to mourn with each other, to pray with each other, and to celebrate one another. Yet, our historical resilience has brought us together in new ways. We have seen birthdays and graduation parades, virtual gatherings, and many of us taking more time to make those phone calls to loved ones. We will continue to rebuild because it is in our blood to do so. We will strive to recover our economy and evolve as each new normal takes place. We are in the same condition as most nations around the world, but our culture and our language set us apart and serves as our strong foundation for our regrowth. We have a long history of strength of coming together to build community. This time will be no different, and I am confident we will have a beautiful, thriving community for future generations. The spirit and determination and dedication of those who built the Oneida Nation economy and provided us our quality of life as Oneida people flows through each of us. We must nurture the fire within ourselves and all others. We must move forward with a good heart, a good mind, and a strong fire.